So this video is made for you to have a taste of what you could learn if you decide to join my cohort. I want to introduce you to two concepts, which is the difference between mundane transit and personal transit, and the importance of dignity when it comes to understand how this transit will take place into your life. For those that don't know me, I'm Michael Henry, and my purpose here is to help you to understand how astrology can become a tool for personal growth instead of being just vague warnings that you hear on social media. One of the things that I wish I was told at the beginning of my journey with astrology is how transit affects us all differently. And this is something that is not talked on social media pretty much at all. People give generic warning about transit happening, but they don't really explain to you how it plays out within your personal chart. And this is a difference between mundane transit and personal transit. So let me explain what I mean. So let me show you two different kinds of charts that you can look at when you want to know more information about the transit and how they're going to affect you. Right? The first one is your personal transit chart that you can get on AstroSeek or any of your favorite app. And it shows you inside here you have your birth chart, and outside in yellow you have the transiting planets, right? And the aspects are the aspect made between the transiting planet and your personal planet, which unfortunately on social media you will never heard of because it takes in consideration your exact placement, so therefore exactly how these movement of the planet will affect you directly into your life. This is a topic on its own. We can talk about how to analyze personal transit for decades, but I'm not here to showing you this. I just want you to understand the difference between this chart and the current transit chart. So in this current transit chart, what we're seeing is the position of the planet at this very moment, right? For example, here we have Mars in Scorpio that just entered Scorpio, right, a few days ago. Doing a square, we see this red line here is making a square with Pluto in Aquarius. So this is a transit that you might hear on social media. Mars in Scorpio is squaring Pluto, watch out, something is happening. But how do you know if this transit will truly affect you? Have you ever noticed that some transits are definitively hitting the spot and have strong effect within your life, while other transits are just passing by like nothing happened? So the importance key here, and this is something that I don't hear astrologers talking about enough on social media, is the importance of dignity. So dignity will show us within your personal chart which planet has the most power over you, which part of your personality has the most power, right? So therefore, when these planets are being triggered either by personal transit or by mundane transit, this is the planet, this is the aspects that you personally want to take in consideration when it comes to analyzing the current transit that you're going for, right? Whether you're doing this for yourself, whether you're doing this for clients, for a friend, for a lover, all of these are very important things to take in consideration. And let me explain what I mean by dignities. So here's a presentation that I use when it comes to teaching astrology. And this one shows the importance of dignity. So everybody knows in your chart, you will find a planet in your chart, right? We're looking at Mars, or by example, in this case, the Sun. So the Sun is in a sign, right? Giving it some kind of energy signature. So the Sun, which stands for your core personality, your identity, your greatest joy in life, and etc., will reflect the energy of Taurus during the duration of your life, because the Sun speaks mostly about who you are from point A when you were born to point Z when you end this beautiful journey that we call life. So the Sun do have different form of expression depending of the sign that it is found in. So When it comes in Leo, it's called dignified because we say that the sun rules in Leo. I'm sure you heard that before, right? But what does that mean exactly? It means that every planet has an energy that suits their core essence of expression, right? For the sun is Leo. For the moon is Cancer. For Mercury, it is Gemini and Virgo. For Venus, Libra and Taurus, and etc. These are placements where they are naturally comfortable to express their core essence, right? But this is something that we call dignified. So when a planet comes in a sign of rulership, we call it dignified. But if it is true that it is comfortable in one placement, it is also true that it might not feel super comfortable in other placements. So when a planet comes in its opposite sign of dignification, we call it in detriment, where it is a place where it's not comfortable to express its natural way of expression, right? But going along with this, we also have exaltation, which is a different kind of calculation. But when a planet comes in exaltation, it is not in a sign of rulership. It is not in a sign that it owns or it's a reflection of its core energy. But it's a sign that's very similar, and we call that planet exalted in this case, which a planet in exaltation will do good or even better than a planet that is dignified, but without the core foundation of its traits of personality that makes it the ultimate placement, I would say. So if it is true that it is exalted, there's also the opposite of exaltation, which we call fall. A good example for this one is the moon in Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio is in fall. So it's not comfortable to express his natural way of expression and will encounter some difficulties, some challenges in this point. But why am I saying all of that? And what's the point of talking about this today when it comes to transit? Well, if you have a planet within your chart that is either in exaltation or in dignified, in a sign of rulership, or in a sign of fall, or in a sign of detriment, this planet becomes a part of your personality that is extremely loud, that has extreme power over you. So either if it's extremely comfortable in a sign of rulership or exaltation, but even if it is in fall or in detriment, because this might feel a bit more challenging, but within these challenges lays your greater strength. They just need more effort to be discovered or handled properly, as usually they are a mix of energy that it's not that they don't go well together, but there's a lot of repercussion of mixing this energy that can be either hard to handle or a bit chaotic to some ways. But by example, a Mercury in Pisces, even if Mercury is in detriment and in fall in the sign of Pisces, it creates this amazing intuitive sense to communicate with other realms, or even being able to have a very specific touch when it comes to helping people or understanding people without necessarily using words, right? Mercury and Pisces are great listeners in general, and they have definitively a unique touch, an intuitive touch, to vehiculate their messages. Okay, sweet. Now we understand how some planets will have certain strengths and how we need to take in consideration these transiting planets and the transit of our natal planet into our personal transit chart. But where am I going with all of that? I want to introduce you to a concept that I call leading forces. So leading forces will show you which planet has the most power over your personality. So by example here, let's take the sun here. The sun is in Libra, right? Which planet rules Libra, right? The planet that is ruling Libra is Venus. So in this chart, we're going to go look at where Venus is. And Venus is in Scorpio as well with Pluto and Mercury, right? So In Scorpio, the ruler of Scorpio is Mars. So these 3 planets will be ruled by Mars. So within this chart, we're going to go and see where is Mars. And for this person, Mars is in Capricorn, which is a sign of exaltation, right? So for this person, Mars is one of the planets that we want to take in consideration, as not only it's ruling over the Sun, Venus, Pluto, Mercury, the North Node, but it is also exalted. So this person has a strong Mars by default, right? But who is ruling the sign of Capricorn, which is Saturn? So Saturn in this chart is in the sign of Sagittarius. And the sign of Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter in this chart is in Pisces. So who is the traditional ruler of Pisces? This is Jupiter. So Jupiter in Pisces rule over itself, making it what we call a final dispositor. So within this chart, Jupiter is extremely important. Why? Because it rules over every planet of this chart. So any transit that will be about Jupiter, either in mundane astrology or in personal transit charts, will be extremely definitive for that person. It will change way more in her life than any specific transit, right? Okay, so let's take another chart, for example. This chart is a bit more complicated. So let's check. Let's check first with, let's take the moon. The moon is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. In this chart, Mercury is in Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars is in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Virgo, which is debilitated, and it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Mars is in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Here, what we have, it's a mutual disposition. So not only the moon is ruled by 3 planets, but these 3 planets are within a spiral of energy that kind of give the stick to one to each other at any time there's a decisions to be taken when it comes to the topic of these planets within its personality, right? Or when it comes to the topic of the houses where these planets will be found. But on the other hand, we have Venus and Taurus with the Sun. So Venus rules over the Sun in Taurus and rules over herself, which is dignified at this point. And on the other side, we have Saturn that is in Capricorn, which is ruling over itself too. So here we have a very strong Saturn, a very strong Venus, and a mutual disposition between these 3 planets, right? So there's technically 5 planets to take in consideration in all time when it comes to transit. So these 5 planets will be extremely descriptive to how the energy will shift in someone's life when it comes to personal or mundane transit. Okay, I'll give you another and final example to make sure that you understand properly. This chart is different. There's no final dispositor. It's only mutual disposition. So in one hand, let's take the moon. The moon is in Sag. Sag is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we have a mutual disposition between Venus and Jupiter. Let's take Uranus here. Uranus is in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars. Mars is in Capricorn, it's ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is in Leo, which rules over the Sun. The Sun is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So there's a mutual disposition between the Sun and Saturn, making them the spiral of energy. So here there's two spirals of energy. So when there's transit happening directly to this planet in this person chart, it will create this effect of spiraling within that energy of the transit that we're talking about. So what I'm trying to show you here is the difference between popular astrology, which is talking about transit, or analyzing transit to make sure to understand how that energy will take form when it comes to really taking your life seriously. There's some energy that are conducive to do certain things, and some energy that are conducive to not do certain things. And if you are able to read your transit chart using one of these techniques that I showed you, there's many others that I would like to show you within my cohort, but this is one and the most useful techniques that I wanted to share with you. So if that was clear and you understand everything that I said and you're capable of doing that on your own, good for you. If not, if it was confusing, if you're not sure, this is exactly why I'm launching my new cohort. I want to teach you within a group where I'm going to take care and nourish, make sure that astrology becomes a real tool for you, not just fluff that makes noise in your phone. If you're watching this video, it's because you received it in your personal email. There's a link in this email with a form to fill up if you want to join that cohort that I'm starting. It's going to be my first one. I'm super excited about it. I've been teaching astrology for more than a decade now. That's going to be my first online cohort. I'm super excited about it. This is the perfect opportunity for you to step up your game. I know that you've been interested into astrology. This is how we've been in contact. You saw me on social media, it piqued your interest, and now you're watching this video. But is that enough for you to make astrology a real tool that can help you for self-development or taking the right choices when it comes to love or your career? This is exactly why I'm here. I want to invite you to take your game on, to take the step that you've been putting into your save folder for later. This is your opportunity for you to step in that field right now.